All right, so what's next? What you got to report on
For the
Trump's?
Supreme Court. That's why. Trump tweeted out the following. Many believe that by the Senate giving credence to a trial based on the no evidence, no crime, read the transcripts, no pressure, impeachment hoax, rather than an outright dismissal, it gives the partisan Democrat witch hunt credibility that it otherwise does not have. I agree. So we know that Trump has been saying, I would like a trial. I would like to call witnesses. I would like to show what's really going on here. And Trump, he's playing both sides now, confusing the mainstream media, pushing the Dems, the deep state, to push for a trial. And I do still believe that they would like to have a trial. Now, once again, things can change because I do believe this would be televised by all the mainstream media stations. Trump, the Patriots, they would be able to bring in witnesses. Of course, the Dems, the Ds, they don't want this to happen. They don't want certain witnesses. And Trump and the Patriots, they want to produce certain witnesses, like the whistleblower, like Schiff, like Pelosi, like Hunter Biden, like Joe Biden, and the rest. Just because Joe Biden is running for president, it doesn't protect him. They can even call in Obama, Brennan, and the rest. And this would be publicized. They all be under oath. If they lied,
I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to end up being dead this coming week or the following, but we'll see. Now I've got to stop him here because Flynn last reported he's going to spend some jail time unless it's sentences uh, redone or omitted or gotten rid of.
put up on their webpage. Now, this is very interesting. After the IG report was published, and this was December 9th, 2019, what happened to that field office page? The FBI scrubbed Agent Pienka from their website. They removed his name. That's very interesting. Now, this doesn't mean that he's no longer working in San Francisco. It only means the San Francisco field office has removed him from the website. He could still be working there. We don't know. And as Technofog notes, putting this whole thing into context, FBI Christopher Wray has been keeping Pienka from the public spotlight and congressional inquiry since 2018. And it would appear the FBI is adamant about keeping Pienka as far away from the FBI effort to keep Pienka hidden, redacted, invisible, and unavailable to Congress predates the appointment of Bill Barr to Attorney General and U.S. Attorney John Durham as an investigator of the issues. The Department of Justice and FBI have been covering for Joe Pienka for over 2 years. And I do believe Durham and Barr right now are now onto this. And I wouldn't be surprised if they already have the information. Now, very interestingly, we know there's been a huge amount of FISA abuses. The FISA court, well, they knew exactly what was going on here. It was all done together. And the Inspector General's report calls out the FBI, the Department of Justice, calls out the FISA court, and it seems that now former Department of Justice official David Criss was picked to oversee the FBI's reforms of its surveillance procedures in the wake of the report. Now, David Criss is a defender of the FBI surveillance of Carter Page. He was also a vocal critic of Republicans who suggested the FBI misled the surveillance court in its application to wiretap Page. And he endorsed a suggestion that Representative Devin Nunes should face obstruction and justice charges. Now, Nunes said the choice of Criss is shocking and inexplicable. It's hard to imagine a worse person the FISC could have chosen outside of Comey, McCabe, or Schiff. Why? because Chris is part of the swamp. But this will fail. Trump tweeted out the following: "You can't make this up. David Chris, a highly controversial former Department of Justice official, was just appointed by the Pfizer court to oversee reforms to the FBI surveillance procedures. Zero credibility. The swamp." Now, of course, does this mean it's all over and the Pfizer court is going to get away with this and the FBI? No. This is about exposure. They're letting the swamp play this out. What is he going to try to do here? He's going to try to cover up things. What always gets you? The cover up. Do you think Trump and the Patriots aren't monitoring this situation? Of course they are. And we also need to remember that this whole process is about exposing the swamp for who and what they are and how they manipulate the system. Look at the border wall. Look what's happening in Iran. Look what's happening with the fake impeachment. Look what happened with the FBI. It's being exposed to the public. This is part of the plan. Now, we also know that the mainstream media, they've been pushing the idea that Huber found nothing in regards to Hillary Clinton. The mainstream media, as we know, they're trying to get ahead of the story. We know this to be false. And now we have information that confirms what Q has been telling us. Now, this is from Rex. This is what Rex uncovered. He said Huber was not tasked to conduct an investigation into Clinton or the Clinton Foundation. He was tasked to review issues raised by Congressman Goodlatte and then to make recommendations to the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General. And he says you can see this in the letter. This is on page 24. And it says that they're referring this to the Attorney General Department of Justice. So let me continue with Rex here. IMO, Huber almost certainly recommended that the Department of Justice start criminal investigations into the Clinton Foundation, as well as the FBI cover-up of her email scandal. Why? Because it's obvious to anyone with half a brain that both are as dodgy as hell. I worked it out just by researching on the internet. It's probably being conducted by Durham, but it could be another prosecutor or both, and it's being kept under wraps for good reason. Well, we mentioned this on Friday, and this was post 3581 and 2604. Let's start with post 3581. What if there's another prosecutor outside of D.C., assigned by Sessions with the same mandate authority? Do you believe in coincidences? 5x5, be ready, Patriots. Post 2604. And Anon says, so Huber is a head fake. If so, brilliant, Q. Q says false. Huber will bring severe pain to D.C. Huber's working on other stuff. Sessions forced release of name Huber to House created another variable. Use logic. Why would we tell you the plan if in doing so also alerts those who we are actively engaged in hunting? You are witnessing firsthand the demise of those in power, the old guard. Those who push simply have no grasp of reality. Those who push simply do not understand warfare tactics. Emotions cloud judgment. Emotions cloud logic. So from what Rex found out from this letter on page 24, it shows that there's a stealth prosecutor with the same exact mandate. Huber recommended this to the Department of Justice, and this stealth prosecutor took over. So when the Washington Post is reporting on Huber finding nothing, maybe that was leaked to throw them off by the Patriots. Also, they have no information that the case is being wrapped up and closed because they made conflicting statements in their article saying it's ending, but it hasn't ended. There's been no official letter or document or anything sent to Barr. The other prosecutor behind the scenes has been working, gathering the information, getting the Clinton Foundation information. And it seems there's another prosecutor with the same exact mandate. Huber, this other prosecutor, Durham, and who knows, there's probably a couple of others, are all working. getting the Clinton Foundation information. And it seems
Hey, as I'm sure you've heard, the leader House complained that they weren't briefed about the operation. Trump came out and said that, quote, "We were going to notify them last night, but we decided not to do that because Washington leaks like I've never seen before." And he continued by saying that, quote, "Washington is a leaking machine." Well, was that a legitimate concern? Perhaps, because I don't know if you remember, but back in 2015, the US was actually extremely close to catching the ISIS leader. But according to General Tony Thomas, who at that time was leading the Special Operations Command, critical intel of their operation was leaked to a prominent national newspaper. And about a week after that, the lead went dead, and the ISIS leader, he slipped away.
there's another prosecutor with the same exact mandate. Huber, this other prosecutor, Durham, and who knows, there's probably a couple of others, are all working on this. And the Washington Post is letting everyone believe that nothing was found. Now, either they're trying to get ahead of the story, just like they did with the IG Pfizer report, or they were fed this information as disinformation to show and prove that once again the mainstream media is completely wrong. So no matter which way you look at it, they're going to be completely wrong. And remember, all of this is proceeding on the Patriot timetable. This is not on the deep state's timetable. This is the Patriots' timetable of the plan. And it's being done step by step to make sure that all bases are covered. Now let's head on down to the border because the mainstream media is out there and they're trying to convince everyone that the wall is replacing that old wall that was built. Now, Trump decided to tweet out the following. The powerful Trump wall is replacing porous, useless, and ineffective barriers in the high traffic areas requested by Border Patrol. Illegal crossings are dropping as more and more wall is being completed. Now, when you look at the picture, the sticks that they had as a wall, it's not a wall. The wall is replacing nothing, actually. Anybody can crawl under it or jump over it.
The flight that was shot over, what is it, Ukraine? Tweet came from Trump.
People took to the streets, and they're out there. Now, Trump decided to tweet out over the weekend here, and one of his tweets is in Farsi, and he's talking directly to the people of Iran. And this tweet is the most liked Persian tweet in history with over 307,000 likes. Trump also tweeted out the following. The government of Iran must allow human rights groups to monitor and report facts from the ground on the ongoing protests by the Iranian people. There cannot be another massacre of peaceful protesters, nor an internet shutdown. The world is watching. He continued. The leader of Iran, do not kill your protesters. Thousands have already been killed or imprisoned by you, and the world is watching. More importantly, the USA is watching. Turn your internet back on and let reporters roam free. Stop the killing of your great Iranian people. Now, Enoch decided to look at what Trump just said in the last tweet and say, hey, this is a Q proof. And this is what Enoch tweeted out. December 19, 2019, Q informs us that the back channels are important and to know your history, to know why. January 4th, 2020, Trump uses back channel to de-escalate Iran crisis as JFK did to de-escalate Cuban crisis. Do you believe in coincidences? And when you look, you can see there's an article showing this, that he used back channels. We have it in the Q post. We have the dates, December 19th. And it seems that this is another Q proof. We also have Cowboy W2B, who tweeted out the following. President Trump tells Iran the world is watching. Q drop contains Iran and the world is watching. Hey, mainstream media, aren't you a little bit curious how Trump and Q always seem to be in sync? And then put up post 1317. This is May 4th, 2018. And it says, today, JK and Iran, the world is watching. If you go to Trump's tweet, this is January 11, 2020. It says the government of Iran which is Iran in this post, and it says the world is watching, also in this post. Another Q proof. Trump tweeted out the following. John Kerry got caught essentially admitting that funds given ridiculously to Iran were used to fund attacks on the USA. Only a complete fool would have given that $150 billion plus to Iran. Then they went on a Middle East rampage. Now, John Kerry, he is panicking. Remember, he's been out to Iran many, many times, telling Iran to keep the deal. Don't get rid of the deal. Keep the deal going with the EU. Now, again, he violated the Logan Act. He's a citizen now. He should not be dealing with other leaders, but he was there anyhow. Why? Because he has something to lose. Obama has something to lose. Clinton has something to lose. And all those who were involved have something to lose. And he's out there telling the media to label Trump's claim that Iran received $150 billion a lie. Now, we know, going back in time, when Trump says something, it is the truth. We might not find out at the time he's saying it, but later on, it comes true. When he first mentioned that he was being spied upon, they called him a liar. This is no way possible. No way Obama or anyone would spy on Trump. It was surveillance. And then, of course, we have the Comey report, then the IG Pfizer report, and it shows there were FBI agents, Kleinsmith to be exact, who changed an email for them to get a warrant. So they didn't get the warrant legally. So it's not surveillance anymore. It's spying. And they made 17 errors. Coincidence? No. And it's all against Trump. So when he made that statement back then, it came out to be absolutely true. And remember, the mission of the deep state and those individuals that make up the swamp, it's their job to protect everyone else, including the mainstream media. And they continue to do this until they can't anymore. They lie, and if they need to lie again, they lie again to cover their lie. This is how it's been for a long time. Now, very interestingly, while the mainstream media is building up Soleimani, building up Iran, saying that he was a great general, that Iran should have destroyed the U.S. base, trying to push a war, Iraq decided to file complaints against Iran at the UN Security Council for bombing a military base in their country. And they sent the complaint, and it says the bombing violates the principle of good neighborliness. And they sent a letter. So Iraq is even upset that Iran bombed Iraq, even though the mainstream media is trying to make it seem like, well, they had justification. They killed Soleimani, who was a terrorist. Well, no, they didn't have a justification. They decided to bomb a U.S. base in Iraq. For what reason? Because the U.S. killed a terrorist? Now, with all the evidence that was coming out about the Ukrainian flight, Iran was caught up in what they did, where they shot off a missile and they downed a Ukrainian airliner. Now, they didn't want to hand over the black box. They were covering up the crash scene. They were trying to make it seem like they didn't do anything. It wasn't them. Remember, this was planned to get Trump and the Patriots, the U.S., into a war. Remember, there's good guys and bad guys in all these countries. The bad guys set up this airliner that killed these individuals. Trump flushed out the bad guys. The bad guys decide, you know what? We can get rid of these people and start a war at the same time. This is perfect. But it backfired. Because everyone on the net, everyone except for the mainstream media, didn't believe that the plane just crashed because of mechanical problems. And now Iran, because of all the evidence that's coming out, they had to admit it. Zarif tweeted out the following. A sad day, preliminary conclusions of internal investigation by armed forces. Human error at time of crisis caused by U.S. aventurism led to disaster. Our profound regrets, apologies, and condolences to our people, to the families of all victims, and to other affected nations. Now, he's trying to make it seem like the U.S. caused this. The U.S. didn't fire any missiles into Iran. This plane was taking off inside of Iran. They decided to bomb Iraq. They decided to shoot a missile at this plane. It didn't work out for them. But the question is, was it really an accident? Well, evidence is indicating that the Ukrainian jetliner shot down in Iran was no mistake. The Iranian regime claims it was, but evidence shows the opposite. Now, we have this individual, Carlos Azuita. This person tweeted out the following: 6 airliners flew over the same spot in the 3 hours and 30 minutes after the Iranians fired missiles into Iraq, but before the Ukrainian jet was shot down. Those 6 airliners were 2 Turkish Airlines, 1 Austrian Airlines, 1 Pegasus Airlines, 1 Aeroflot, and 1 Qatar Airways. The downing of the Ukrainian jet was deliberate. There was no panicky reaction. The route the aircraft took is totally known to the Air Defense Force. People are complaining that the site is being bulldozed and the wreckage removed, etc., etc. Well, this is an interim period. So we had other airlines flying the same route, but they only took out the Ukrainian airline. And remember, those individuals who were waiting and filming a dark sky knew exactly where to point their cameras to capture what happened. So do you really think this was an accident? How would people know? They wouldn't, unless they knew it was going to happen ahead of time. And they knew exactly where to look in the sky. They knew where it was going to happen, because you just wouldn't walk out of your house and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to film the dark sky. And I'm just going to have my camera out there filming. There'd be no purpose in it. Yes, you might hear an explosion and then pick up the camera and capture the aftermath, but we're seeing recordings where they're waiting for it to happen. That means it was planned. And we need to remember, everything the Patriots are doing, they are doing on their timetable. They need to expose all of this. And Iran, Ukraine, Uranium One, the scam that John Kerry, Obama, and everyone else that they were running, it all has to be exposed before the truth comes out. And I wanted to go back to post 2816. This is back February 19th, 2019. The declassification of all requested documents, plus more, will occur. This is not a game. Do not let personal emotional desires do it now. What is taking so long now? Take over. Logical thinking and strategy should always be applied. Game theory. We all want to see equal justice under the law. New threats investigations by SDNY, AS, MW, in an effort to delay, prevent, release, insurance extension, will fail. Transparency is the only way forward. Define the following: treason, sedition, subversion, conspiracy to commit. Do you understand and fully appreciate the gravity of the situation? Do you understand and fully appreciate what POTUS endures each and every single day? He loves this country. He loves you. We must stand together in this fight. There is evil in this world. There is darkness in this world. There are those in power who wish to control, enslave you, to keep you sedated, to keep you unaware, to keep you blind. This will be on our timetable, and we will deliver. That's in all caps. Transparency and prosecution. There is simply no other way except one, and that's in brackets in bold. There is no other way. And there.
All right, so this is coming out. This Iranian or this Ukrainian airline was shot down deliberately. They filmed it being shot down. Kerry, Obama, and others involved in Iran. $150 billion coming back in destructive weapons and other killings. All coming out. This is one hell of a mess. Totally treasonous. These people should be put in jail at least, if not publicly executed. Back channels were used in other things to get this information out to Iranians. All right. You guys, Mark from Billings, Montana. That's for next 22 reports. Good day.